Hey guys, well, you know how it is. I give a lot of advice here and there about Football Manager and like the correct or the best or the most optimal way to play. Most of it is, of course, advice that I do not take on myself. So today's theme is don't rock the boat. And we definitely don't want to rock the boat when it comes to Football Manager. One thing I've learned over time as I've played all sorts of different saves and as I've done things is that when you get to a point with your club where there is stability, just as long as you don't do anything crazy to make guys unhappy, you'll be fine, right? So I was thinking about this just the other day. We were doing the training week in review. The guys who don't do so well, there's not too many of them. Everybody seems to do fairly well. This guy here, Zhang Zhijie, I think it's Zhang Zhijie, 17 years old, doesn't really like me that much. So whenever I tell him he didn't train well, he gets upset. And so, I could always like argue with him. You know how it is in the game. If somebody's bad at training, you can fight with them for really as long as you want. He's outspoken, volatile, confrontational, right? And he's unhappy that I've treated him poorly or something like that. Whatever. We do need this guy. We need this guy to develop well, and hopefully he will eventually develop at least fairly well. We'll take a look at his progress in development and see he hasn't made much progress at all because he hasn't really been doing his training right. If we go here and look at his actual matches, he's played like only little bits here and there. And I think he's playing out of position. They're having him play as an advanced playmaker, and yet he's really suited for that right wing. I think he's upset because I have him training to play in that right wing back role. Anyway, so it is. The reason why I say don't rock the boat, though, is because you don't necessarily want to come up to a guy like this when he's arguing with you and keep arguing and arguing and arguing. I just like to, sort of tell him, hey, you haven't trained well, and then leave it at that, right? And he's going to be upset and he's going to continue to be grumpy or whatever. And there's a possibility that he may actually never make it to the first team. We have Menegong to play on that right side. I don't see Menegong really like going anywhere from here. But the real point behind this, sort of like the macro point we want to take, is that we don't want to have a lot of upset feelings because we want to maintain this very, very good club atmosphere and the very, very good managerial support. That's the real key here. Now, I know managerial support here is not perfect, as you can see. There are certainly some people who do not like the job that I'm doing, apparently, whoever it is. But overall, because we haven't made a whole bunch of roster changes, recently, all the players we're signing are young. They're going straight to the under 18s. These players, as they play together longer and longer, start to develop a really good atmosphere and a really good relationship with each other. And that's what helps us have very good dynamics. That's the thing that really is the key here. That's what we want to see more of, right? And that comes kind of naturally. It doesn't come from, fiddling around a lot or even doing what it tells you here in games sometimes, right? You'll go over to the hierarchy and it'll tell you we're lacking a good number of highly influential players in the squad, blah, blah, blah. The best way to handle that is to continue playing these guys until they move up, and then these guys will move up too. That's what happens, right? And Dai eventually is going to be influential. Menegong, who plays every match, will eventually be highly influential. Eventually, some of these guys will become team leaders. Probably Menegong will become a team leader, right? So that's the key. The key is not necessarily to go higher, recruit a bunch of leading players. You could do that, but that could, turn everything on its head. Instead, what you want to do is you want to be calm. You want to let them have time to get used to playing with each other, have a good core of players, and then when you're buying guys, you want to focus, in my opinion, on buying these young players who you can then develop at club instead of buying a bunch of old guys who are going to shake everything up. Cool thing, by the way, somebody showed me is that if you click on yourself like this, it'll show you the players who support you and then the players who don't. Only Maele doesn't support me, and it's probably because he's not registered for matches because we already have 5 foreigners. Maele is probably not going to be at this club for much longer. Interestingly enough, where there's Kader Bamba, he actually has no real opinion of me and is not one who strongly supports or does not support me. He's also not registered. So anyway, cool stuff to look into. Another cool thing to see is this social group, right? Probably season and a half ago, this social group was like all over the place. We had a whole bunch of different social groups, a bunch of people in the others and stuff that has gone away, right? Most of these guys, after playing together for a while, start getting used to each other and they start, talking with each other and stuff like that. Interesting to see now that the Taiwanese players are all up here and the foreign players are all over here, with the exception of Shen Yuding for whatever reason. I'm not sure why he's over there. Has he even played? I think we're going to start him this next match tomorrow. He hasn't played at all this season, so maybe when he starts starting, he'll be in that social group. But the truth is, like, if you care about this and if you want to make sure that this problem doesn't happen or whatever, the best way to make sure that you have just one social group is to just play the same guys together over and over and over again. If you remember, if you're, a veteran of the channel, if you remember back to the BYU save that I had, the dynamics on that team were spectacular. And the reason why is because we couldn't bring anyone in and we really couldn't get rid of anybody, right? Because there was no way to replace them. So if you keep the same players on the team over and over again, you're going to have incredible dynamics. It's going to be helpful. You might not win a lot of games. If you do win games, though, of course, your cohesion and your atmosphere will become even more spectacular because everybody likes winning. And so there you go. That's kind of the point here. You don't want to rock the boat too much. Just keep going along. If it works, then keep up with it. We are still in first place, as you can see here. We go over here to take a look at the season preview. And the season preview shows that we're 1 to 91 odds to win the league, which basically means that everybody has concluded that we are going to win the league this season pretty much no matter what, which is where we want to be. So let's keep it there, right? Let's not, go around and do some crazy thing to try to shake things up, right? If it's going well, we'll just keep it going well. We won't do anything crazy to shake it up, even if it would be good for video views or whatever it is I'm supposed to care about. So anyway, there you go. That's my recommendation. I think you could probably take this advice for just about almost any kind of save you're in, unless, of course, you're dealing with problems that are really hard, like the team has no money, you absolutely have to sell players, that sort of thing, and it's probably not going to work so well in that case, But for most teams that are normal, maybe even teams without much money, keep the players together as much as you can, have them play together, and they will learn to play together better. It's just like if you've ever played in like a band, right? When I was in high school, I had a band with my buddies, and we played really bad punk rock music. We were kicked out of the garage down to the basement, so we were truly an underground sensation. But we got better as time went on. The more that we practiced together and played together, the more we could anticipate what each other was going to do. And then it turned into a thing of beauty. Football Manager is the exact same way, right? So think of Football Manager as a form of art. Talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.